SAMEDIREADINGS.com. There she does her readings, her classes, her workshops, chakras, Akashic, and a whole heap of shit you need to see. Everyone should know Khadijah by now and see what she got going on her site. You can connect to it through mine, which is Occult Lectures. My YouTube is the same thing, Occult Lectures. Cash App, I guess is the last one, $ Brother Pan, BROTHERPAN. Hit me up, keep the lights on, son. Everything counts and helps. And I always appreciate you guys. I always appreciate Rich's forum. I always
appreciate the God has to do. He has to set the energy right. So Rashad Jamal, first of all, my brother, welcome to my platform. Thank you for agreeing to come on to the platform. And without further ado, God, set it off right and set the energy and the frequency right, my brother, before we get started.
First, let me say I appreciate you, God, for bringing me on your platform. I have nothing but respect for what you are doing for the planet, which is sharing the information and the messages that the ancestors are sending through us all. So I just want to say, first and foremost, I want to thank you. And I appreciate your platform and everybody in here this evening. But before we get started, like I was telling God backstage, I say, hey, I know this your platform. But if it's okay with you, you don't mind if I set the correct vibratory frequency. And God behind me, he's like, yeah, God, do what you do. He watched a lot of the information in the university. So, for those of you who don't know me, what I always do before I give any messages, because I channel energy, I really don't like to use other mediums other than the ancestors, because we are gods and goddesses. So all answers that we are seeking for lie within ourselves. But sound healing is a big thing. So we're actually doing a 7-week chakra cleanse on my website right now. And we actually on the brow chakra. So this particular sound bowl will help to stimulate the third eye. And because I don't want us to just, discuss esoteric information, metaphysics, quantum physics, molecular biology, the different topics that we'll be going over this evening, without us being on the same vibratory frequency, it's imperative that we get there. So what I'm going to do is we're going to be doing 3 sets of 4. So what's 3 sets of 4? Okay. We are energy. Everything around you is energy. All right. So everything is vibration. Nothing ever is still. Everything is always becoming. I like how God mentioned the Hermetic teachings when he was just running the ad, because if you go study the Hermetic teachings, it teaches you one of the main principles of polarity, rhythm, vibration, etc. Understanding your universe. So you have north, east, south, west. We were told that these are just actual directions on the planet, when in actuality, these are interdimensional realms within this realm of Atlantis that we live on, which we have been told to believe is America, right? Or the world, when you think of a world map. So we always want to send energy in a correct frequency, that north, east, south, west, and the beings that exist in those certain parts of the realm. We also like to send a vibration to the elements, water, fire, earth, air, because each phalange, each finger aligns with a particular element. These are things they don't teach us in school, because being carbonated beings, non-ether beings, we are connected to everything around us. So before we roll into any download, I always have to send the energy to those elements, because the elements have as much life as you and I. And then the last set always go to the 4 phases of matter. All right, matter makes up what you consider your physical reality, and the slowest form of matter is what we call solids, which is how you and I appear. So you have solids, and then the next vibration that's a little faster than the solids will be liquids, and the next vibration that's a little faster than the liquids will be gas, which is the spirit realms, and the next vibration that's a little faster than the gas realm will be plasma energy realms, and on and on. So plasma energy is the highest form of energy in this physical state of matter. So we always send a vibration to those 3. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right. So we'll start first with north. East. West. South. All right. Now for the directions. All right. Now for the action out the directions, we did north, east, south, and west. So now for the elements, starting with the most powerful element that was created first, which would be water. Fire. Air. And last but not least, wind. Solids. Liquids. Gas. And plasma energy. Ashe, ashe, ashe. That's that third eye. That's that sound bowl. Sound healing is a real thing. Let me see that light back. Sound healing is a real thing. God, I appreciate you clearing the room for a second so that we can all get on the right vibratory frequency. Sound healing is a big thing that needs to be discussed more within the community. Definitely when we're talking about metaphysics. How you feeling, though, God? Talk to me.
Indeed, man. Listen, I'm feeling absolutely great, my brother. I think the time that we are in, it has boosted my morale and my mood, despite everything we see going on around us. Internally, I feel great. And sometimes my ego say, nigga, you see what's going around? Why? What you doing feeling that good, nigga? And I'm like, nah, because I feel good. That's why I feel, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter what's going on outside. I got this inner feeling inside, and I know what that's about. The topic, my brother, I named the show tonight, Serious Mysteries. I love what you talk about. I love what you present to our community. It's been so long that our community, the melanated community, could not have conversations like this because we felt like we had to focus on the white man or white supremacy. And I understand that. I totally get it. But several teachers, Dr. York, Elijah Muhammad, Dr. Delbert Blair, Bobby Hammond, Dr. Phil Valentine, decided to still talk about extraterrestrials, metaphysics, the cosmos. And because of those brothers, me and you are here today to continue that legacy. And I'm thankful for those brothers who came before us. One thing what I want to say to start the show with, my brother, is that in the melanated community, I hear so much about the Sirius. And I've heard you mention things I never heard about Sirius X. I heard about Sirius A, B, and C, but you mentioned Sirius X. Now, I used to be subscribed to Gaia because I get information from everywhere when it comes to metaphysics. And on Gaia, a lot of the other cultures, they always talk about the Palladians. So you got one culture that always talks about Palladians. Then when I come within our culture, the teachers in our cultures always talk about Sirius. So I'm like, well, damn, why they don't mention Sirius and why we don't talk about the Palladians? So we'll talk about that, but pretty much let's start out with that. Why is it that, you know, I'm always hearing about Sirius, and when I go over there to get information, I'm always hearing about the Palladians. And you can say who is the Syrians and who is the Palladians, you know, getting all of that, my brother.
Well, the truth be told, I mean, when it comes to the cosmic history of your so-called Black and Latino people, that has been more than hidden from us, right? There was a documentary that came out years ago called Hidden Colors. I believe they came out maybe 5 or 6 versions of it, but it's a great documentary for anybody that's on their journey to start with. I would recommend checking it out because it opened your mind up to a lot of things that's beyond what we've been taught, you know, via social engineering. But when you're looking at Gaia, you know, like I always said on my platform, all right, when you're looking at Gaia, all that is these oppressors, right? You can call them the deep state, the cabal, whatever the hell you want to call them, all right? But at the end of the day, these are the oppressors, and they have hidden all our valuable esoteric information from us. And then they come out with these little series like Gaia or the X-Files or these cartoons, right? Or these movies, the Star Wars, Star Trek, right? Guardians of the Galaxy, and on, documenting all of our history, right? And when you come over to what's us, your so-called Black and Latino people, we have been hit with Jesus. So it's hard for us to get past religion. And for those of us that do get past religion, the farthest we might get is going back to the Dogon, which is the African tribe that kind of spoke about the Nomos, which are beings that come out of the Sirius star system. But because we are so powerful, we can never know who we are. And it's not really knowing, it's remembering. Because you come here as a soul and a spirit. You sign a soul contract. So there's no such thing as birth, for example. We are cosmic beings. So I like to teach our cosmic history. You can never die because you was never born. If you are a 9 ether being with a carbon, what they like to call pigmentation. All right. I just spoke about this because this all ties into Pleiadians and why we don't hear about it. I just spoke about this in a lecture I did on my website called Neuromelanin maybe 2 nights ago. And I was discussing the difference between neuromelanin and melanin. See, the oppressor, he's very tricky. Remember now, who is the oppressor? Satan. But Satan has a million names. His cosmic name is Zeus. But he's hidden behind Satan in religion. He's also Jesus in religion. Because if you understand that Satan's cosmic name is Zeus, then you can understand who Jesus is in the Bible. Because who conquered the known world that they teach you in their American history book? The Spaniards did that. So when you say the Jesus name in Spanish, you get Jesus, right? Jesus, right? No different than with the story of Yakub, Prometheus, Enki and Enlil in the Sumerian text, Odin in Norse mythology, Satan and Zeus is hidden behind so many different names all throughout history. So when we're talking about the cosmic version of ourselves, many of us had those memories bleached away from our soul via nanobot technology when we entered this realm. We entered this realm through a portal called the womb or the vagina. So we come from the cosmos. A lot of people forget to ask themselves, where were you before you were here? See what I'm saying, God? You were here, but where were you before you was here in this lifetime? This ain't your first lifetime. This isn't your first experience. You are spirit and soul. You descended down into this realm from higher forms of energy. So you had to descend down to the lowest vibration to even manifest into this physical realm, which we call a physical body.
Right. Okay.
Now, once you manifest in this realm, you manifest through the vagina. This is why a lot of people be believing that we're taught in school because they got us thinking we're all one human race, right? That's what the oppressors did to us. We're all one human race. So you're taught in school that for 9 months, the mom is pregnant with this baby. But for those 9 months, it's nothing but a vessel inside of her womb. The spirit and soul doesn't enter the womb to the moment before the water breaks. Once the spirit and soul enters the actual vessel that the mother has been housing with her avatar, her body, then her water breaks and out comes this baby. So it's the fact that we have been cut off from that cosmic version of who we are, the essence of us when Source created us. And that part of us we have in our DNA, which we don't even have DNA because we are 9 ether beings with neuromelanin. We have DEA, which is deoxyetheric acid. And you can't even look it up. You can't even Google it because if you Google DEA, they gonna tell you Drug Enforcement Agency. You see what I'm saying? They got all these gates and loopholes there for you if you ever even begin to peek just a little bit into the metaphysical you. So you're not gonna hear too many black scholars or intellects or that information being taught where we speak about the Draconians, the Alpha Draconian reptilians, or the many different reptilian races. Or the Pleiadians, which is one of the many different extraterrestrial races. You're not going to hear too much about that. You're not going to hear too much about the Blue Avians, the Syrians, the Bazoofians, who are any beings that come from Sirius B. You see what I'm saying? The Aurelians, Sirius A stands for Aurelius. A lot of people don't know that. Right?
Okay.
And the beings that exist on Sirius A would be the Aurelians. All right? This is where a lot of your archangels exist. This is headquarters for a lot of your archangels and many other beings. When you get to Sirius B, you're dealing with the Nomos and other variants of angelic beings.
Right. Okay.
Because Sirius B, them the Bazoofians. So the Nomos and any archangel coming from that location will be considered a Bazoofian. No different than over here in this country, how they call us African Americans and Latinos, but everybody would still be considered Americans, right? They get that whole breakdown from the cosmos, as above, so below. So when you see them having the police, we have that in the cosmos. We have police in the cosmos, but they're righteous. We have, like they have court down here, we have court in the cosmos, but it's a righteous court. You know, it's literally as above, so below for real. So when you're dealing with Sirius C, you're talking about that's Chronos. And the Chronophians, any beings that exist on Sirius C. This is where a lot of your Pleiadians were first created. Pleiadians, reptilians. Most of these beings all originate from Sirius C, B, or A. Now, Sirius X it's the essence. That's source. That's where the black woman who is God was created at. She created herself. She manifested herself out of dark matter energy. So at a metaphysical level, this dark matter energy is dark matter energy, right? But as it breaks down to the plasma levels, it becomes neuromelanin. As it descends from the plasma level down to the gas, to the liquid level, to the physical state, which is the solid, which is the slowest vibration, then this neuromelanin then begins to manifest as carbon, which is why we are carbonated beings.
That's when you talked about the phases of matter earlier. When you talked about the okay.
Exactly. That's important, God, because you have to understand, we believe we are physical beings because it's what we see. Not realizing that you are only attached to this physical realm through your 5 senses. Take away your sound, close your eyes, touch, smell, taste. Where would you be? You would be in the center of the universe, which is where you really are the whole entire time. When you come here, this is an experience. This is an experience. This is why it's called light cold lockdown. Because they have figured out a way to manipulate our energy. Remember, what are we? We are not these. We got to get past this skin. We got to stop calling ourselves black people. We not black. We not no African Americans. We not no niggas. We not no pimps, hoes, thugs. We not black people. We are Anunnaki gods and goddesses. That's the name of our species. And why are we that? Because we are the center of creation. If you want to call her the black woman, you can call her that. But she manifested herself out of dark matter energy. And after she created herself out of dark matter energy, because what is dark matter energy? Let's break down what dark matter energy is first off. Dark matter energy is what science fear. They call it antimatter. Okay, what is matter? Matter is everything around you that you can see in this physical. These are all forms of matter, right? This is what science teaches us. So what is antimatter? Anything that defies the laws of matter. Dark matter energy is so strong and it's so intelligent, it defies the laws of what they consider matter, which is why they call it antimatter and the most dangerous property in the multiverse. The movie Venom was all about the neuromelanin or the dark matter energy, or what they call in science antimatter. Now, we see these pigmentations and we think nothing of them. Oh, I'm just black. Oh, I just have a darker pigmentation. No, you have carbon in your skin. You have, and what is carbon? Neuromelanin. What is neuromelanin? Dark matter energy. What is dark matter energy? Dark matter energy is divine feminine energy mixed with divine masculine energy. They came together to make dark matter energy. The divine feminine energy was first. Then, out of the divine feminine energy, the divine masculine energy was created. The divine masculine energy is what gives dark matter energy its color. This is what makes it dark, because divine masculine energy is aggressive. Feminine energy is, so they teach us that feminine energy should be receptive and that masculine energy gives the directions. But in the balance of the cosmos, it's the opposite. The feminine energy gives the orders. The masculine energy enforces it.
Okay.
So when you got divine feminine energy meets divine masculine energy together, they met to create this dark matter energy. This is why it's so intelligent. It's an intelligence, and they kind of mimic that when they showing you the Venom movie and the suit having its intelligence before it latched on to Spider-Man, right? Right, it had its own form of intelligence. All right, now out of that dark matter energy, this is where you get your first black woman / what we call Latino woman, because the black and Latino woman is the same individual. The oppressor gave us different names to divide us from each other. But if you look at the genetics of a Latino woman, Latino man with a black, so-called black man or black woman, you're going to see the same genetics, same carbon, same connection, 9 ether beings. So she created what, out of that dark matter energy, you get this divine black goddess, if you want to call her that. The first